Molly's gonna have to pick up the Damien's nervous space. I mean, you have the most experience being around the planet. You have traveled to where? 31 countries. So collectively,
damn,
you know, we are Mother Earth right now.
And she is here. Look at this tree. She's in a band too.
Let's just give a moment to give thanks. I see your species in the estuary over there.
Oh yeah,
Let's
bird
just
tribe.
take a moment to
People of the bird tribe.
Oh,
rise up. People of the bird tribe, rise up now. People of the bird tribe. Look what's in my hand. I found it on the way over.
Oh my God.
A feather.
So beautiful. Rise up now.
If you wear a feather, you can feel their honing, into the migration. All the. I mean, this is why they wore them. Natives wore feathers to tap into the animals.
Oh, like the instinct.
Yeah, and a chief wears feathers to tap into those instincts of the animals, and then use those things to hold the tribe.
Yeah.
right.
Powerful.
I once was like, we're going to festival. Sarah, order me a headdress, and then they were like, don't do that without knowing what you're doing, and it happens often at festivals.
Yeah.
Where we don't understand and respect
The tradition.
It's cultural appropriation.
what is it?
Cultural appropriation.
Cultural appropriation.
It's taking things from cultures with no meaning, and it's actually very disrespectful. Just for fun.
I think it's interesting though when it comes to like the topic of earth-based things. Like all indigenous cultures were more in touch with the earth, and now part of this awakening is being more in touch with the earth.
Yeah.
So like, where's that line? I think that's the key, right? Is like if I just put a feather on, that's cool. But now it's like I know the intention. Like I know the power, and I know that the way that the indigenous, like why they wore the feather, and then I'm like aware. Is that more like okay?
I would say that's, in my own eyes, that's like more okay, because it's like the opposite of cultural appropriation in that you've actually thoroughly researched and like began to understand like why what you're borrowing from a culture is like why what you're borrowing.
Yeah. It's like honoring the culture.
However, I think there's also like a big social aspect to that too, because like while like you might see it that way, there's definitely going to be very politically correct people that will be like, oh, it's still cultural appropriation because you're doing that.
Because
So
you're a white man.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's interesting. Like I met this guy, very kind of mystical old man in Colombia, and he was white Colombian man, and he in the 60s he went on a journey and he thought he would find himself to India, but he ended up stopping in the Sierra Nevada mountains in Colombia and felt very called by the indigenous tribes there, who were completely like cut off from everyone else, and he just showed up there and set up camp, and they were like, please leave, and he didn't. And more people came, and like more foreigners and Europeans, and people just found those symbols there. And the tribe was like, please leave. And they were like, no, we're just going to stay here because we want to learn. Like, we want to learn. After 4 years, and they kind of set up a community there, after 4 years, the elders of the tribe said, you know what? We see, they have very clear vision, we see that the times are changing and that a lot of people who do have blood of the indigenous are not interested in continuing those traditions. They are more interested in like the more modern, Western, sad to say, but American paradigm. Like in many cases this has happened where like our generation that was from an indigenous background kind of isn't really interested in hearing what their elders have to say. And so it's like this new age where then seekers from other lineages are feeling called to learn this stuff. And so he wrote a book and it's called the El Indio Interior, so like the Indian inside. And he said like when he saw me, he was like, I felt that you have this indigenous heart. And so that idea that like, you know, and now like there's these videos going around of people finding out like their ancestry.com DNA and they're like, oh my god, I'm like 30% this and like 50% that, and who am I now?
Right.
But it's also like transcending that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, like definitely the people who are of that bloodline like have, I guess, a priority in a way, but it's also, I don't think it doesn't serve, like if people are approaching that tradition because they honor it and they want to learn, they're invited to also, you know.
They're just guided to on their own path. It's like
So
inspired.
I think there's also like while there definitely is like authentic like indigenous like in so many parts of the world, I think there's like this idea of like being like nationalistic, where it's like this is like our territory and like we are this people, this is your territory, you're that people.
Oh yeah, totally.
And like it's funny because I think that and I might be like teetering in like sensitive area, I feel like that boundary may exist in like how indigenous people are perceived too, as like these like different people, when like in reality, like when all those boundaries are dissolved, like all you have is really one people, like all over the planet, doing just very different things.
Yeah, I mean, at this conference, there was a lot of talk about like racism and intersectionality, because I guess within like the women's empowerment movement since the 60s and 70s, that's been a kind of a problem. Like my mom, who's hippie and during that time, explained that at that point in time, like if you were a black woman, there was like a women's liberation movement going on of mostly white women you weren't really invited to. And there was like a civil rights movement of African American people going on, but it was more the men. So as like a black woman, or we didn't even hear about the Latino women or the Asian women or the Native women during that time, but that like it's
Who's
very
not
easy
invited?
to get left out.
I mean, like in our own lives,
Yeah,
who's not invited to the journey that you're on?
right.
Like, who are we leaving out individually?
Yeah.
That's-
I would say to an extent, like I have a couple friends that are sort of in like a more mainstream culture, and I've heard things from them like, yeah, like that works for you, like that, like it's like an other, like I'm inviting them, but it's so far out of their reality to like come to the plant medicine ceremony and like pray and sweat, and you know, like that's just so different from where they're at that sometimes they may not feel welcomed or invited.
Well, that's why we're doing our work, and it's really nice to be here with all you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Tyler's here, because I find strength as a man to hold space for the women here, and what you guys might need in your love lives, and do our best to nourish that voice that is so powerful and so healing for this planet.
Should we make some sound vibrations?
Let's make some
Yeah,
sound
I'd love to.
vibrations. Sound vibrations.
That's amazing.
Thanks for holding me in a place where I can speak from such vulnerability.
Of course, man.
With my heart works well around you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. That is what I'm looking for in the universe. People who allow my heart to work well. Thank you.
And it's interesting to imagine just as many connections I have with you and you and you, that you also have with the dynamic. So
Oh
it's,
yeah.
The web.
it becomes to see, it's like a really small microcosm of what the fabric of this universe, how beautiful the web is, and how delicate and gorgeous, and makes me wanna make a song and dance about it.
When I was drumming, I would just have the thought, I came here for my body.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense because your consciousness is your consciousness. It doesn't need a body.
Yeah.
But you come here to have this limited experience inside this body, this sensual experience, this fine-tuned instrument of the universe.
Yeah.
Aside from the consciousness, in tandem with the consciousness.
Yeah.
To do special work. It's like leading edge work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Say that again.
Leading edge work.
Well, I say it with what does that mean?
Leading edge work.
Leading edge work.
Yeah. The leading edge of existence. Of,
Yeah, it's like the forefront almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this has never happened before, even though you could say everything that's ever happened is already going to happen, already has. But like this, like we're pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
And we're creating creating it all right now.
Yeah. It's happening. I mean,
Mm.
I love the prophecy of the Rainbow Warriors. I mean, like, I just can't see it as any more true. There was a time when I first
Lolly
read
B?
that, and I was like, someday.
Hey, Lolly B,
Yes,
what is
someday.
the prophecy of the Rainbow Warriors?
Let me tell you, child.
Please tell us, Lolly B. I only came from up the street.
Well,
My
I
people
remember
think it's
it.
far away for me to go.
Mm.
But bring me the prophecy of the Rainbow people, please.
Well,
What is it?
I've heard it attributed mainly to the Hopi. And I have heard, I don't know word for word, but it goes something like, when the earth is ravaged and dying, a people will come to the earth. They will be of all colors, and they are here to make the earth green again.
Why am I crying?
That's it. We probably all like powwowed on some other galaxy and we're like, hey guys, like we're all gonna meet up, just jam in our bodies and like play with the vibrations and being like in these denser forms.
At this time,
Yeah.
this place.
It makes too much sense. I think only because of like all of the people I've come to experience and like know, especially recently. I feel like seeing like I guess where I'm at in myself, and then how deep everyone else is as well. It's just this idea of like like almost like of course like
Yeah.
it's really fun.
It's so real, and what's amazing to me is like being a traveler and finding within all of these different communities and all these different places and lands, this awakening is happening, this remembrance is happening. And it's funny because online I get a lot of people who reach out who are like, I thought I was the only one, and like I was like
Oh,
crazy, I can't talk
yeah.
to anyone about this, look like I'm insane, but like
Oh,
this is
shoot,
what I'm
yeah.
feeling, and I'm just like, yeah, let me like
This is
meet
what
the
I've
people.
been looking
like,
Yeah,
for.
welcome
Yeah.
to the family.
Welcome
Keep
home.
saying that around me. Thank you. This is what I've been looking for.
This is what I've been looking for.
So I will listen to them in the world, in the streets like that.
We are the ones we have been waiting for.
It's a resting place for me to cry inside the context of the earth screaming. Also on the flip side of the earth's healing. So I don't cry for my own emotions. I cry for this pasture where we came to dance and play.
And this is a time, like in part of the prophecy, they say, like either we get our shit together now, or like get the this age is done.
I would agree. I think it's more. I think it's easy to sort of look at like what's happening in the world and being like, yeah, this age is done. Thank
Yeah,
God
we're
it's
on
like
our way
after
out, like,
I'm like you, you know.
Mm.
But like I think that's like only a temporary like side effect of like where each individual's at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the more like refined a person becomes on the individual level, the greater of a shift is able to take place externally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I would go as far as to say that like that sort of reality that I think people really want for the planet and for like mankind like can be actualized. I think it's really a matter of actualizing that same environment but within yourself first. And once you're of that vibration,
Right.
like why wouldn't the planet shift to
Yeah.
meet you? You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Tyler, you have so many gifts to travel so far. It's so magical to experience you in flesh and body.
Thank you, man. I feel the same way about you, dude. You add tremendous amounts of excitement and joy to my life, man.
Thanks for all that you've offered me and Sarah and the kids. It's cool to come across your path. And the happiness about you is remembering how good life can be for you. Like you celebrate so much and so often inside when you listen and when you move, and it's really helpful. It's helpful for the tribe, rise up. Okay, I do have to go actually, because my phone died and yours is the only phone that has the number I need in it. So maybe we could say goodbye.
Bye, Internet World.
Goodbye,
Until next
everyone.
time.
Thanks for tuning in.
Tuning in.
Mwah.
Love you.
Mwah.